My next guest is back in action. Big fight here. Going to be taking on Mateus Rebecki, UFC 328, May 9th. It is right around the corner. Happy to be joined once again by Grant Dawson here on the program. Grant, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you? It's always good to be on your show, especially when I got big fight news.
Yes, it's good to talk to you. Interesting fight here with the opponent because I know Rebecki has trained a bit at ATT. Have you two ever trained together? That was kind of one of the first things I thought of.
Yeah, we've trained together. We it's a little weird. When I first moved here, we trained together uh, quite a bit, and then like 2-3 years went by where we just didn't cross paths. Like he likes a certain style of training that I didn't super enjoy. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It just wasn't, for me. And then I started making my friends and my guys that I wanted to, train with more. So we've trained together, but it's been 2 or 3 years, maybe longer, maybe more like 3 or 4 years since I've like actually been in a drag out like training session with the guy.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering that. And it's weird the way the matchmaking's been going, right? Because they had Chris Duncan and Moicano training together. Like
Yeah.
the UFC doesn't care if you're at the same gym. It's just like, hey, we got to make the fights, right? So
Well, but it only happens at ATT. Like
yeah.
name another gym where teammates have fought each other other than like for a title fight, because
Yeah, that's true.
obviously,
Yeah.
I can't think of another gym that has to have teammates fight each other for non-title or title eliminator fights as consistently as um ATT.
ATT. Yeah, that's true. And I mean, to your gym's credit, there are a lot of fighters there, so that sort of makes sense as well. I don't know if you want to go into more detail, but like, why weren't your training styles like? Why didn't they jive? Did he go a bit too hard? Is he not as hard? Like, what are you able to reveal any of that? What's sort of the deal there?
I'll tell you after.
Okay, fair enough. We'll leave it at that.
It's not anything bad. I'm
Yeah,
not I'm
yeah.
not slamming the guy.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
just
no worries. No, I was just curious. I'm not even trying
Yeah.
to like get you to say anything bad. I was just curious, like what the difference was.
Yeah,
That's
and I
okay.
I know you wouldn't, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
it's hard
Understandable.
to explain.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
fair enough. We'll talk after. When did you find out about this fight? It looked like you got a decent amount of notice.
Yeah, so I had 6 weeks, I think. I found out I was actually at PFL cornering Dakota Bush for his PFL
His
debut.
huge win, by the
And
way, that was awesome to see, huh?
yeah, amazing. Amazing. It's not the UFC, so I bet some money on it, and I made like $1,000 because he was a big underdog.
Oh,
So that
nice.
was that was cool.
Okay.
But yeah, so we got this offer, and there's an unspoken rule when teammates get offered each other, and that's both guys turn it down
Mhm.
so that nobody looks bad. And so I was like, no, he's my teammate. I don't want to fight him. I don't want to do ATT versus ATT. Like, I see what Chris has to go through, and I just don't want to deal with that. But they messaged me back and said, well, he already accepted the fight, and so the other unspoken rule is if the guy accepts it, then you have to accept it too. So I said yes. I didn't not want to fight him because I don't think I can beat him. It's not
Yeah.
because I think he's like this wrecking machine, but it was a respect thing, and I thought we were both kind of in that boat because we had been offered each other before and
Mhm.
we had both said no. So I thought we were doing that again. He didn't. He thinks he can beat me, and that's totally okay. I'm going in to prove him wrong, though.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Do you think it was one of those things like when they bring like criminals in, they're doing like an investigation and they'll lie to the suspect and say, well, this guy said this about you. Do you think they did that with this fight where they're like, he said yes, but maybe he didn't, but maybe they told him that you said yes? Did that ever cross your mind?
No, but I mean, they got me a contract in like 10 minutes of me saying yes. So
Okay, so he
I
probably
I,
did say it.
I
No,
think
I was just
yeah.
thinking they could be creative that way and say that he said yes and then maybe didn't.
Well,
But yeah,
but so like for example, if me and Chris Duncan have had the conversation, if we ever get offered each other, we're both saying no immediately.
yeah,
And if they had said that, we would have just reached out to each other. Like
yeah,
if they had told him that, I know Chris Duncan would have, hey, did you say yes to this? I said no. I thought we agreed to,
yeah,
And so I didn't get a message from him. I didn't get a dude, I have to take this fight or they're gonna cut me. I have to, I'm running low on money. I need to say I didn't get any of that. So I I believe he said yes. And that's okay. There's no animosity there. I was trying to be respectful and play the teammate game. I don't want to say game, but like honorable
yeah.
game. I don't know. and he thinks he can beat me, and that's totally okay. Everybody that stepped in the cage with me has thought they could beat me, and 3 of them were right.
Yes, that's true. No, that's a good point. Speaking of your last fight, just quickly, what did you take away the most from that fight with Torres?
Yeah, dude, Torres is a savage. I'm more upset about losing to Bobby Green than I am to Torres, and that's not a knock on Bobby Green. He's a
Yeah.
fantastic fighter. He caught me fair and square. It was just my first main event. I was this massive favorite. I was feeling really confident going into the fight. And then he gets me, puts me down, and finishes me. Congratulations to him. I know how dangerous Torres is. On my very very best night, maybe I would not have beat Torres. He's so talented, and I think he's got a really really bright future ahead of him. So it really does. I didn't get into this sport to beat Torres. I didn't get in this sport to beat Bobby Green, and I didn't get in this sport to beat Hugh Poley. I got into this sport to become a world champion. That's still the goal. That's still what I want to do. But I know there's going to be bumps and bruises along the way. I'm going to guarantee you guys that I'm going to lose another fight before coming champion again. That's just, everybody's so good. Everybody's so talented. If you don't have a perfect night, you're probably going to lose. So it really doesn't bug me.
One of the things I saw you mention after that loss, because you were on with, I think, Moicano and his podcast, or some podcast you were on, mentioning that like you weren't doing that much sparring, and you said that you were going to increase that. Is that changed since that fight?
Yeah, so as soon as I was cleared to spar again after that fight, I've been sparring 2 days a week, headgear, gloves, not super hard. I'm not, taking a bunch of damage to the brain or to the dome, but I am sparring a lot more. And I got to tell you, in this camp, I've had, I'm making posts about how good this camp is going, and I'm not just saying that to hype myself up. This camp is going insanely well. Like my last camp, no excuses. Had nothing to do with the fight or anything like that. Wasn't going great. I was getting beat up by guys I shouldn't. I didn't feel like myself. This camp, I really really feel like myself. I feel strong. I feel great conditioned, and my timing is just a lot better. And I'm taking punches and absorbing them better. It's not like I'm getting hit hard and then needing to sit down or anything like that. Like I'm taking good punches. I'm very happy with the way things are going right now.
Why weren't you sparring more before? Was that just like, was that like a conscious decision where you're like, I don't want to take as much damage? Like what made you do that? Like, I don't know. I'm actually just asking, like, I'm curious about it.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question. So I went to Glory MMA and Fitness to train with James Krause when I had just turned pro. I was 1-0 as a pro, and they were sparring super hard to the point where like and this is not a shot on James or anything like that, but when James would have a fight, he would put on like fight gloves and spar, or at least very thin training gloves to spar. And then he went to the Ultimate Fighter. uh he was there for 6 or 8 weeks or however long it was, and when he came back, he was like, guys, we got to quit sparring so hard. We
Okay.
got to take it lighter. We got to save our brains. We got to save. And that really resonated with me. I was like, dude, I want to be able to spell my kids names when I'm 40. So it's like uh I kind of got into my head, like, if you spar hard, you're gonna get brain damage and not have a long career. And that is partially true. Like, I'm not sparring hard. I'm just sparring harder than I was,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's hard to find guys at ATT that'll take it light and let move around with you. Obviously, I have my boys, Dakota, Marshall, all those guys that will do anything for me, but I also don't want to get in the way of their training. So it was kind of like, if I don't have a fight and I don't feel like sparring, I'm not going to spar.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like I'm going to spar at least minimum 1 day a week. This is gonna sound really weird, and I'm sorry I'm saying this on your
Whatever.
podcast.
It's
It's gonna
fine.
sound really weird.
Yeah.
I got saved a couple of years ago, like a year and a half ago. I became a Christian, and in my faith, once we die, we get new bodies in heaven. We get new bodies on earth, all that. And so in my head, I'm like, you know what? I'm okay destroying this body, doing something I love. I'm gonna have a new one someday. And I know that sounds super
No,
weird
no,
and a
it
little
doesn't at all,
Bryce
man. No,
Mitchell-y,
no.
but
Go ahead. Yeah.
but it is something that has helped me like get over the fear of permanent injury.
Okay. No, I think that's great. And I think probably more fighters need to hear that. It's a different, mentally, it's the mentality of when you go into the fight is half of it, right? Like you see this all the time. There's guys that can do amazing in the gym. And then when they go out there, they can't put it together. And it's because you got to have your mind right, right? So however you
Yeah,
get there, it's the best,
and thank God for those guys, because I've trained with a lot of dudes, nobody at ATT, but I've trained with a lot of dudes that whoop my butt every day. And then they just can't perform in the cage. And I'm like,
Right.
thank goodness, because
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have a job if everybody was as good in the cage as they are in the
Right.
gym.
Yeah. No, I like the honesty there. Let's talk about Rebecki. Obviously, pretty familiar with them. Stylistically, how are you looking at this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough fight, man. He's 1-3 in his last four, and all four of those fights were, fight of the year contenders. I without giving too much of my game plan, the way Chris Duncan fought him,
Mhm.
I don't plan on fighting him like that at all.
Right. Right.
Like, I plan on trying to have a very smart fight, and he might shut all of that down. He might shut down being smart, having good footwork, being able to out wrestle him, and if that happens, I'm ready to. I'm ready to put my body on the line to get this win.
Okay. Like that. Camp, you mentioned your training partners there. Anyone new in the mix, or it's still the same crew of you, Dakota, Francis? Thiago Moises, I talked to him the other day. I know he's missing having you in the gym and all that. He's doing great things over there at the Fighting Nerds. But he mentioned to me that I guess you gave him a little insight on his opponent because you guys, I guess, cross-trained a bit back in the day, right?
Yeah, me and Gage, we trained at Glory together for a long time, and I like Gage a lot. I think he's a very talented young fighter, but he hasn't really, kept in touch.
Yeah, it's fair
Which is
game.
fine,
Yeah.
which is fine. But every time I fight, every time I post, every time I reach out to Tiago or anything, Tiago's reaching out to me. I definitely say I have a much closer relationship with Tiago, and he was just, I'm an honest guy, man. He was just asking me questions, and I'm answering the questions as best I can. I'm a little surprised that he's the underdog in
I
this
saw
fight.
that too. I was a little bit surprised by that as well. I'm guessing they feel that maybe his durability's gone a bit, but again, Thiago's got way more experience, right?
Yeah, and Tiago has wins over much better competition,
Hmm.
and some like his losses are no jokes,
Yeah.
So I think Tiago's gonna get this win. But to answer your question really
Okay.
quick,
Yeah. Yeah. No
there's
problem.
this guy that I've been training with. His name is Elbrus Tievik. I don't
Okay.
know how to say his last name. He's
Yeah.
Russian,
No
and
worries.
he is a carbon copy of my opponent. Southpaw, short, stocky, brawler, very good wrestling. He's an absolute phenomenal fighter that I honestly believe you guys will be talking to someday.
Mhm.
Um, just a good dude, and he's coming in every single day to help me out. We sparred today. Uh, you know, I literally could not have a better a more perfect training partner than El Bruce for this fight. So it's a really big cheat code. I've added him to my group of friends and team, and I'm very happy with it.
Is Rebecki at ATT right now, or is he is he training somewhere else, or is he at the
No,
gym?
he's staying in Poland, which I
Okay.
totally understand. He reached out to the team and was like, "Hey, I don't want to have to deal with that again." And I think that's a good idea, because anybody that can emulate what I do is really good friends with me.
Yeah.
So they probably wouldn't have helped him anyway. Like
Yeah. No, that
I
makes
think
sense.
Moicano might have, but Moicano just fought and he's not in the gym right now. So
Mhm.
um, I think it's a smart move on Rebecki's part.
How was it with Moicano and Duncan? Like when they had to fight each other, was it just separate? They go at separate times, or like how did that work?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of practices that they did not together, but like
Mhm.
in the same
Right.
room, like wrestling practice, jujitsu practice, Wednesday morning practice, because those are like for the class. And then they sparred at different times. It was very respectful. It was very cordial. These guys are so, like, it doesn't mean to them what it means to me, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly think that if they had like been grappling and there was nobody else to go with, they would have gone with each other, because
Right.
they don't look at it like a life or death situation. It's just business, and that's a great mentality to have. Um, the better man won that night. I still think Chris Duncan has so much more to show. He's getting so much better every single camp. It's weird. He leaves and he trains in Scotland, and then he comes back, and I feel like he's gotten better. And I'm like, if you're getting so good in Scotland, why didn't you stay in Scotland,
Yeah,
man?
good point.
But he's doing good, and he's going to do a lot of big things for the sport.
What can fans expect on May 9th as far as this fight? How do you see it unfolding?
Yeah, it's a W, man. I'm coming for blood. Like I said, I'm gonna fight very smart. But if he makes me throw that out the window, I'm ready to give my body for this. I'm ready to give a piece of my soul to win this, and I really mean that. I know how much better I am. I know what I'm capable of, and I'm tired of not showing it. I'm tired of having these really good performances and then when it matters the most, dropping the ball for whatever reason it is.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, fighters get, like you mentioned, the green fight, people get caught. Have you seen kind of that chatter as well where people are like, Grant Dawson's got a bad chin or whatever? But I mean, Torres is knocking
Yeah.
out everyone. Bobby Green, I know, not knocking out everyone, but like you said, you got caught. Have you seen some of that? It must be kind of frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually funny. They call me Glass Jawson, and I thought that was absolutely hilarious. I would be lying if I said it didn't hurt my feelings, but I'm a grown ass man.
Right.
I get over it pretty quick, and like I said, man, becoming saved and becoming a follower of Christ has really changed my mind on things. I used to get mad at these people, and now I honestly just feel bad for them because it's a grown man taking time out of his day, finding a fighter's post, and then making a crappy remark on it. Like, you got to feel bad for somebody that's what
Spending their
their
time
life
doing.
kind of revolves around, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to be hurtful or anything like that. I really do, like, it still hurts my feelings, but a part of me is like, man, I hope this guy's doing okay.
Rebecki's got a pretty, good name, I would say, for the weight class. And again, he's been in a lot of wars and a lot of fights. Like, is it just, you kind of go fight to fight after this, coming off the loss? Like, how do you sort of approach what would happen if a win came here, especially a finish?
Yeah, it depends, man. If I win a split decision in a war, I'm probably not going to be calling out Charles Oliveira.
Right.
If somehow I get him out of there in the first round, now I can be like, hey, like, I've been in the top 10. I've been in the I deserve to fight. I want to fight so and so. But I usually have three names that I want to call for depending on how the fight goes. Because like I said, you just look stupid if you win a close split decision and then call out Armin Sarukian, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've got three names in my head, but the only thing I can guarantee you is that I'm gonna win this fight and then praise my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Who's taking the lightweight title at the White House? Ilia Topuria or Justin Gaethje? How do you see that one going?
Ilia Topuria.
Yeah, didn't even
I mean,
hesitate. Yeah.
I mean, unless Justin Gaethje can like sneak a gun in there, no, I don't think he has a chance.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how some of those fighters do on that card because there's a lot of Americans, but are they all going to win? Like, I don't even think it's, well, I guess they just added Derek Lewis and Josh Hokett. So an American will automatically win there. And then same thing with Bo Nickel and Kyle Dawkins, right? So,
Yeah, I for sure. I don't think any other American is going to win. I don't think Michael
O'Malley, I should say.
Chandler's.
Yeah, O'Malley, I think will probably beat Damon Zahabi, I would say.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
I forgot he was on that card. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think O'Malley will win. I think Justin and Michael Chandler are getting starched, and hopefully Michael Chandler gets starched. I have a good performance, and then I can fight him.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on. I was a little bit surprised that he accepted that fight because he was so adamant about fighting Connor, right? But maybe that ship has sailed at this point. I don't know. We'll see. So.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to marry a supermodel, and then they realize they ain't getting that, so they settle.
Fair enough. Good time to end the interview here. It's UFC 328 coming up here May 9th. Grant, if you have anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, sponsor, social media, anything like that, I'll give you the last word.
Listen, guys, I hate to be a broken record here, but I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He has changed my life. None of us can get into heaven by our works. None of us can get into heaven by how good of a person we think we are. The only way to get into heaven is if the man on the middle cross says you can come. So if there's any advice that you want to take from me, give your life to Jesus Christ.